Chapter 17. What Life Does to You. The TARDIS shuddered and shimmied as it flew faster than it ever had flown before. But then it stopped suddenly, while the central column kept moving. Waterman and Sarah Jane looked at each other. "You think it's safe?" Waterman asked. They turned to the doctor, who was looking better than he had a few moments before. "We're hovering over Brazil," he said, "at the only insertion point the TARDIS will allow." "At a three-way space-time break?" Waterman said incredulously, hauling himself up. "There's no such place." "There is," the doctor replied quietly, and pulled the last lever. The TARDIS dropped slowly back into space-time while the doctor turned on the scanner. They could see people in a conference room, but they appeared frozen in place. Sarah Jane noticed someone was drinking coffee without swallowing. "What's going on?" "Time freeze," the doctor explained. "We're moving 1,000 times their speed, but we only have 10 minutes, our time." "I didn't know you could do that in a Type 40, Waterman said. "In this one you can," the doctor replied. "We need to find Skye and the main control room. They ought to be in the same place." "What about me, my past self?" Waterman asked. "He's not here today. We're lucky," the doctor replied, smiling at Sarah Jane, who smiled back. "You can open doors, breathe, all the usual things, but don't interact with anyone," he said, then looked at Sarah Jane. "Not even Luke." Sarah Jane nodded, turned, and walked to the TARDIS door. Waterman checked the readings on one of the control panels and then began moving away. "By the way," the doctor said, holding Waterman's arm, "you never used to be like this, caring for people, trying to help. What made you change?" "It's what life does," Waterman answered simply. "It throws things at you until you become a better person. Or worse," he added pointedly. Then he pulled his arm from the doctor's grip and walked to the door. The doctor sighed, flicked a switch, and the doors opened. There were 3 people inside the conference room, seated at a long table. "I'll search this floor and downwards. You two, upward," the doctor said. "When you find something, signal me with your sonic lipstick. It's networked to these," he said, holding up his sunglasses. Then he put them on. "Good luck, Doctor," Sarah Jane said, smiling. The doctor smiled back. "You are my luck," he replied. Sarah Jane and Waterman turned to each other, then left the room. The doctor sighed, then turned to the conference table where someone was using their laptop. He pulled it away from its owner and sat down. "Now, let's see if we can find the layout of this place," he muttered, typing on the keyboard. Sarah Jane and Waterman found the stairwell and walked to the next floor. Before they exited, Sarah Jane turned to Waterman. "That energy," she said, "the blue sparks on his hands." "Artron energy," Waterman replied. "Put enough of that in one bit of time and place, and you've got a fixed point in time. Can't change it if you tried." "Where's it coming from?" "You. It binds you to the moment of your death. The doctor thinks that if he drains enough away, that you'll—" Waterman trailed off. "Can he do it?" Sarah Jane finally asked. Waterman said nothing. "Please," she said, taking his hands in hers. "Tell me the truth." Waterman sighed. "He can't. He'll burn up first." There was an awkward pause. "But if we stop the Krenoids from invading Earth in the first place," Sarah Jane continued. "Oh, well," Waterman replied. "Not a problem then." But he said it with a forced laugh and a forced smile. Sarah Jane nodded and understood. "Thank you," she replied blandly, "for telling me the truth." Looking relieved, Waterman patted her arm and opened the door for her.